Start. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown, everybody on YouTube's at BIDWKB, Twitch at Burn It Down KB on Twitter. Shout out to Facebook. It's the same song all around the web. Hey, y'all, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. Support us in the ways that you can at BIDWKB on all your cash platforms. So, the announcement today from the Department of Justice. There we go. Department of Justice announced that they have reached a settlement with the members of the USA Gymnastics team, many of whom were Olympians, or several of whom were Olympians. If you guys remember, we covered this on this platform. Shit, when did them girls get up there and testify? That must have been like 2 years ago. When gymnasts like Michaela Maroney, Ali Raceman, and of course the ever erudite motherfucking Simone Biles, the goddess, testified in front of Congress, not only about the horrific abuse that they suffered at the hands of Larry Nassar, but the absolute indifference, incompetence. What's another synonym for indifference? Not giving a fuck. Apathetic response they received from the Indianapolis FBI field office when multiple members of USA Gymnastics reported that they were being abused by Larry Nassar. And would you like to know what the cops did, everybody? Would you like to know what the cops did? They didn't do a fucking thing for almost a year. And Larry Nassar was allowed to abuse dozens of more athletes, girls, women and girls that Larry Nassar abused. And he, to be clear, Larry Nassar did not just abuse USA Gymnasts. He, part of the reason he even got caught up, hemmed up in the first place, and we're going to see some of this actually. I might not, let me not give it all away. But Larry Nassar was accused of sexual abuse of the daughter of a friend of his in Michigan. And it was after that complaint had been lodged in Michigan, did the previous complaints that were made to the FBI about Nassar in Indianapolis. It was only then after those accusations came to light. I mean, the cops ain't shit. When I tell you that policing as an institution is either ill-equipped or absolutely has no serious interest in investigating accusations and claims of sex abuse. And that is a systemic problem. And it is all the more reason that we need to abandon faith in these institutions altogether. But let us get caught up on the story. Will, if we could run the package. You guys know I always like to go to a package. So the package is going to sum up the things a little succinctly. But I want you guys to pay special attention, because what do we like to talk about here, kids, especially when we are analyzing media coverage of whatever things, especially shit pertaining to cops, because the media is always going to present stories about the police from a propagandist lens, right? And it is to shift blame away from the police and their failures as individuals and as an institution. So you're going to hear a lot about Larry Nassar. You're going to hear about a lot about Larry Nassar. But the problem is Larry Nassar is in jail, and this motherfucker has been in jail. Okay. And Larry Nassar was not the one being sued for $1 billion. It was the Department of Justice that these gymnasts sued for $1 billion and now are settling for over 100 million. But let's get the update from the package.
Morning, a major win for the star gymnast sexually abused by disgraced USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. The Department of Justice reaching a $138.7 million settlement deal with 139 of Nassar's victims Tuesday to resolve claims that the FBI failed to conduct an adequate investigation of Nassar's conduct.
That we are heard and that our voices matter, that to me is beyond anything else.
This comes 2.5 years after decorated gymnasts Simone Biles, Michaela Maroney, Maggie Nichols, and Ali Raceman gave emotional testimony before Congress about their abuse. The FBI's failure to act in 2015, allowing Nassar to assault even more victims before his eventual 2016 arrest.
We have been failed, and we deserve answers.
Hundreds have come forward detailing abuse during Nassar's nearly 2-decade career. Former Olympic captain Ali Raceman testified that it took over 14 months for FBI agents to respond to her multiple requests for an interview.
Nassar found more than 100 new victims to molest.
In 2017, Nassar pled guilty to numerous sexual assault crimes against minors and was sentenced to up to 175 years in prison.
For them to pay this kind of money in a case represents the seriousness of the conduct and the recognition that what they did was wrong.
For survivors like Kelsey Morris, the settlement is bittersweet.
Very vindicating to feel like that our voices were heard and that all the rest of us can close that chapter and say, you know, my life starts fresh with whatever that looks like for them.
Will, did I have another package there? Maybe from CNN. Did it say something about the girl's lawyer? Do I have another package there? I know I have.
You got another one in there.
Okay, thank you.
Want to play that one?
Can you just cue that one up real quick? I just want to make a comparison real quick. Thank you. So you guys saw that piece there, right? And it's about largely about Larry Nassar, right? Larry Nassar, 2 decades of abuse. Larry Nassar abused, well, the number that they gave there, the DOJ is settling, the Department of Justice is settling with 139 of Nassar's accusers. But to be clear, Larry Nassar is thought to have abused over 300 women and girls. 300 women and girls, right? And again, the cops sat on their hands because why? The cops ain't shit, okay? But I want you guys to hear, so I want you guys to hear a little bit of a different take, slightly. And this one is going to be coming from the attorney. I think his name Maroney. We're about to hear it. He believes actually that the FBI colluded with Larry Nassar. And again, when you look at when you hear one of the victims testify in front of Congress that it was 14 months before federal agents acted or even attempted to interview her regarding her accusations. 14 months, guys. 14 months. That is a year and 2 months. That's a long time for a child molester to continue to have unfettered access to women and girls to abuse. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Not surprising. Stunning. So I want us to hear from the gymnast lawyer because he has a little bit of a different take and he takes a little bit of a harsher tone that I actually appreciate. And I know perhaps his accusation might sound a little wild off the top, but think about it. Think about it. Let's take a listen.
The FBI conspired with USA Gymnastics and the U.S. Olympic Committee to cover up Larry Nassar.
Attorney John Manley represents more than 200 gymnasts who say they were sexually abused by the disgraced USA Gymnastics doctor. You just said conspired. I mean, that's a serious allegation. You think that's what happened?
I know that's what happened. And for 14 months after they knew he was a pedophile, they let him day after day molest little girls and women at Michigan State University.
This July, a scathing report by the Department of Justice's Inspector General found that USA Gymnastics reported sexual assault allegations against Nassar to the FBI's Indianapolis field office in July 2015. But agents did not formally open an investigation into the matter. More than a year later, an investigation was finally opened by the FBI's Lansing, Michigan office after a separate sexual assault allegation was made to Michigan State University police. During that delay, Nassar continued working at Michigan State and, according to the report, abused at least 70 more athletes. In a statement, the FBI called the actions and inactions of certain FBI agents inexcusable and a discredit to the organization. Star gymnast Simone Biles spoke about Nassar in an interview with 60 Minutes earlier this year, saying that she wants to know who knew what and when.
You guys have failed so many athletes, and most of us underage. Like, if that were me and I knew something, I'd want it resolved immediately.
Yep. So that was the report that the Department of Justice did when they investigated themselves, because, you know, that's what police do. They investigate themselves, right? And usually find themselves without fault. But at least here they had to do some sort of acknowledgement that the ball was dropped many, many times. And there's lots of things here. So as a rule, I just want us to be clear as a society, okay? When people, survivors of sex abuse, come forward, but of course, you know, I am a woman, so I center women here on this channel. So let's talk about women and girls. When women and girls come forward with accusations of sexual assault or sex abuse, they are disbelieved. They are disbelieved. So when the motherfucking whack ass manosphere gets to running off at the yap when there is a widely talked about case of sexual assault or sexual abuse, well, how come she didn't call the police? I'm saying, if I'd have been raped, I'd have been calling 911. I'd have been calling the police. I'd have been. They called the police numerous times. No, as all my daytime talk show people say, numerous of times. Okay, they called the police numerous of times, and they didn't just call Indianapolis police. They didn't just call motherfucking Indiana State Police. No. They called the FBI. They called the FBI, the biggest top cops in the country, right? The Department of Justice houses the Federal Bureau of Investigations. There is no higher law enforcement agency than the FBI and the DOJ. That's it. And these girls who were victims and survivors of sexual abuse from, again, prolific, my God, at the numbers that Larry Nassar victimized and harmed. It is abhorrent. And the FBI knew. They knew. So when the lawyer there, Manley, attorney Manley at the beginning of that clip says that he knows. I mean, and usually lawyers don't come out and say shit like that, right? Like lawyers are quite aware of defamation, libel, and slander. They usually are very selective in the words that they say when commenting on a thing, right? He says, I know the FBI conspired with Larry Nassar to continue to abuse these girls. That is a hell of an accusation, right? And I didn't hear the DOJ refute that shit, okay? But kids, you know what else I didn't hear? You know, in all this coverage about this settlement and, you know, Larry Nassar, forgetting the fact that Larry Nassar is in jail and been in jail, been getting his ass whooped in jail. Shout out to all the ass whoopers fucking up all the chomos in goddamn prison. Y'all the real MVPs out this bitch. But where's the discipline for the FBI agents? Where's the shift in policy? Where's the change in protocol? Where is the way that the FBI is being transparent in the ways that they failed? I know they put out a report, but for some reason, I know the news is not letting us know, or I guess that's not important. I'm very confused. So interestingly enough, this week, as this news about this DOJ settlement with the USA Gymnasts has been announced, on NBC News, Lester Holt. Good evening, I'm Lester Holt. Lester Holt, who hosts NBC Nightly News. He had an interview with FBI Director Christopher Wray. And I was wondering if Lester Holt was going to ask Director Wray about this, because the ironic part was on the same day this news about the settlement was announced, Lester Holt aired this interview with Chris Wray. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I thought I was looking at the unedited interview on YouTube. I wasn't. I was looking at the edited interview. So if Lester Holt actually did ask Christopher Wray, the FBI director, about this specific case, enlighten me, make me aware. I'm always here for correction. You know what I'm saying? I'm right a lot, but I'm okay if I'm wrong, and y'all can point the shit out as long as it's principled. You feel me? So I want y'all to listen to this question, like asked in just sheer oblivion by Lester Holt to Chris Wray in the wake, again, of this specific news of this settlement with the gymnasts, because the FBI agents didn't give a fuck that these young women were being serially abused by someone trusted with their care, right? So here's Lester Holt asking Chris Wray about what the FBI cares about victims. So let's take a look at that.
Security threats and crime fighting, Wray says he wants Americans to know the FBI is also focused on standing up for victims.
We have something like 250 people, an entire division that's just focused on victim services. And while that might not be the first thing that Americans think of when they think of the FBI, I can tell you it's the first thing that victims think of when they engage with the FBI.
That's the first thing victims think of when they engage with the FBI. Do you think Allie Raceman and Michaela Maroney and Simone Biles, do you think that that's the first thing they think of when they think of the FBI? That, oh, wow, They have a tremendous supportive victim services division. You think that's what Simone Biles thinks when she thinks about the FBI? Or does she think that these motherfuckers obviously did not give a fuck about all of these not dozens, hundreds of girls and women that were being assaulted by this one man? You think the FBI gave a fuck about that? They sat on the fucking shit for 14 months and didn't do a goddamn thing? No. This is all the more reason. And let me say this. Hold on. I'm going to get back to this is all the more reason. But if you guys can go back, and if you guys remember, it's actually on this channel somewhere. Sorry, not be more specific, but we covered the congressional testimony of the gymnasts when it happened. We covered it live, and I played a lot of their testimony extensively. And it was very clear to me that every single one of those young ladies had absolutely lost complete faith in the system. And they absolutely should have. You know what I mean? They are validated and justified and correct to have abandoned faith in the system. When you look at who these girls are, right? Simone Biles obviously being the front face because she is the baddest bitch on earth, right? There's never been a more decorated gymnast. There is moves out here that only Simone Biles can do. The baddest bitch on earth, okay? 4'10", fuck with her. She's the baddest bitch on earth, okay? But she's the face because she is the baddest bitch on earth. But when you look at who the demographic, especially the racial demographic of most of the girls that participate in USA Gymnastics, these are overwhelmingly white girls, right? Overwhelmingly white girls. And white women and white girls, I need y'all to pay attention because look who don't give a fuck about y'all. Look who don't give a fuck about y'all. Like if you thought, and I know, if you thought the system does not give a fuck about black women and girls, you are absolutely correct. But babies, all bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, okay, in the eyes of misogynistic men. And if you think that there's not deep misogyny and antipathy for survivors of sexual assault in law enforcement, oh baby, look at the rates. Can we just examine the rates of prosecutions for sexual assaults? And for some reason the kids say grapes now. I don't anyway, I'm auntie. Give me some latitude here. But for essays and grapes, you know what I mean? Like these are crimes that are seldom reported. Let's start there. Most people who are essayed never make a report, right? And then those that do are confronted with skepticism, dubiousness. Again, these are serious allegations, and I agree that any accusation should be thoroughly investigated, but you know, the emphasis on thoroughly and investigated, not oh, hey man, you know, did it go down like that? No. Oh, okay, yeah. This bitch just being dramatic. I know, man. Okay, I'm gonna write it up like it's no big deal, right? Because that's the attitude that is taken by a lot of law enforcement, and people need to understand that. So when we hear stories about people, men, women, non-binary folks coming forward, trans folks coming forward with their stories about being assaulted, and if they didn't go to the police, don't ask them why they didn't fucking go. This is the reason why. The cops don't care. And the FBI, under the umbrella of the Department of Justice, is behaving the way that all these law enforcement departments behave, right? They actually don't want to improve training of their agents or of their officers. They don't really actually want to improve protocols and policies. You know what I'm saying? This is all budgeted in the settlement money is already accounted for in when they submit fiscal year 2025. You feel me? They've already got $1 billion outside. I don't know that for a fact, but you understand generally of what I'm saying is they got $1 billion set aside for the settlements because they already know that their officers ain't shit. They already know that their officers are out here violating people's civil and constitutional rights. They already know that a situation like this could come up where there is an accusation made either against an institution, i.e. like a church, you know what I'm saying, or against an individual that is part of a powerful institution like Larry Nassar, who had been at Michigan State University for many years and who had been a trainer / doctor with USA Gymnastics. And he held a very powerful and influential position, right? And what is another point that I have been saying to you guys kind of semi-consistently over the years, and whether or not they take advantage of it, okay? All men get a default number of people they get to assault. Okay. Do all men assault people? Absolutely not. But don't worry. For every man that is a good man, a respectful man, a man who doesn't hate women or hate themselves in any way. Like for every man that never assaults anybody, you have fucking pieces of shit like Larry Nassar who's going to assault 300. You feel me? Like I feel as though there is a unsaid but should be well understood fact in society, not just American society, but really across the world. Okay, men and boys get to harm people. They do. They do. And well, girls be hurting people's feelings, I guess, but girls is not going to take your anal virginity. You understand? Like the woman them is gonna hurt your little feelings. Absolutely. The man them, oh, you ain't want to know what the man them's gonna do. The man them's gonna do way more than her feelings, okay? And I'm telling y'all this, I feel as though every man and boy gets to assault X amount of people. Of any gender, I suppose. And this is predominantly a man problem, guys. It was a man who hurt these girls by the hundreds. It was another man who took the fucking accusation and didn't do shit about it. So what is us as girls and women, what we supposed to think out here? Well, the first thing I want girls and women to know is that the cops ain't shit. Okay, girls? I need y'all. I honestly need us to internalize this. I honestly think you might be better off. No bullshit, right? Unless you have got it front of mind that you are going to execute the Special Victims Unit playbook to perfection. Should you tragically find yourself the survivor of a SA, right? You got to have the frame of mind to call the cops, to collect, preserve evidence, document as much as possible, et cetera, right? Now, most survivors of SA are traumatized, and they are not in a frame of mind to be trying to think about collecting and preserving evidence. They might not even want to fucking call the police, because then you got to deal with another fucking idiot man walking through the goddamn door, right? And I understand that. So I want us to just be way more sensitive when we hear stories about people surviving SA, right? Or in the case that we're seeing play out very publicly now with Sean Combs, P. Diddy, you know what I mean? Nobody brought formal criminal charges against Diddy because in a lot of cases, these incidents happened years ago, right? So there may not be forensic evidence available to present, but his survivors, or his alleged survivors, are coming forward and bringing about civil cases, right? And you hear all the little from the manosphere, well, right? Oh, they wanted money, right? They called the police. Look at these USA gymnasts and never again open your fucking mouth and ask why girls and women and survivors of rape and sexual assault do not call the police, because cops ain't shit.